Who is your real-life superhero? I was 12 when my parents' marriage imploded. Dad left with barely a goodbye, and Mom fell into a depression so deep I wasn't sure she'd ever climb out. The bills piled up, notices came in red envelopes, and I learned to make dinner from whatever was left in the pantry. That's when Grandpa Jim moved in. He was 73, recently widowed, and had never cooked anything more complicated than toast. But there he was, standing at our door with one suitcase and a determined look in his faded blue eyes. Just for a little while, he said, patting my shoulder, until things settle. The first morning, I found him studying a pancake recipe with the concentration of a bomb technician. Flour dusted his flannel shirt, and batter dripped from the ceiling somehow. The pancakes were oddly shaped, some burnt, some practically raw, but he served them proudly. "First try," he announced. "Tomorrow's batch will be better." He was right. Each day, things improved. Not just the pancakes. When Mom couldn't get out of bed, he'd sit beside her for hours, sometimes talking, sometimes just being there. At night, I'd hear him in the kitchen, paying bills and making lists. "Your mom's a fighter," he told me one evening as we washed dishes. "Like you, she just forgot for a while." School became difficult that year. A teacher called me distracted in my report card. What they didn't understand was that home had become a minefield, and I was constantly bracing for the next explosion. Then came parents' night. Mom couldn't go. I told Grandpa not to worry about it. "Nonsense," he said, buttoning up his one good shirt. "I'm going. You don't have to." "Charlie," he cut me off gently. "Family shows up." I watched him iron his pants, polish his shoes, and carefully comb his thin white hair. He looked tired. I knew his arthritis was acting up because he'd been wincing when he thought I wasn't looking. At school, he shook hands with every teacher, asked thoughtful questions, and took notes in his shaky handwriting. When Mrs. Peterson mentioned I was falling behind in math, he nodded seriously. "We'll work on it together," he promised, and we did. Every night after dinner, we'd spread my textbooks across the kitchen table. Math had never been his strong suit either, but he'd sit there squinting at problems until we figured them out together. One night, frustrated with fractions, I slammed my pencil down. "This is stupid. Dad would know how to do this." Grandpa didn't flinch at the mention of my father. He just picked up the pencil and handed it back. "Maybe he would," he said quietly, "but I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere, so let's try again." It wasn't just the homework help or the gradually improving meals. It was how he treated Mom with dignity, even on her worst days. How he fixed the leaky faucet and taught me to change a tire just because a person should know these things. How he never once complained about the cramped guest room or his aching joints. 6 months turned into a year. Mom slowly returned to us. She found a better job, started cooking again, laughed sometimes. Grandpa didn't move out until I was 14 when we were truly steady again. He lived just 3 blocks away, close enough that I could ride my bike over any time. The summer before he died, we built a treehouse together in his backyard.